to serve as an epilogue. We have a woodcut design. I can't completely tell. Al-Quran. Yeah, I'm not sure what the calligraphy says. And then there's more calligraphy. Okay, Injil, Tarat, Zabur, Quran. Well, having Quran is the lowest one. I think they did that on purpose because they would put the scripture that remained undefiled and all that up at the top. Al-Tama, Manzalata, Qurana, Bainal, Kitabo, Manzala. Okay, what's that? The place of the Quran in the scriptures. Inna awhayna ilayka kama awhayna ila Nuhin wa nabiyyan inna min ba'dihi wa awhayna ila Ibrahima wa Ismaila wa Ishaqa wa Yaquba wa Asbati wa Isa Ayyuba wa Yunusa wa Haruna wa Sulaimana wa Atena Dauda Zabura wa Rusulan qad qasasnahum alayka min qablu wa rusulan lam naqsushum alayka wa kallamallahu Musa taklima rusulan mubashirina wa mundirina le Allah yakuna linnas allahi hujatun ba'da rusule wa kanallahu azizan hakim. Surah 4, ayat 163 to 165, we have given thee the revelation as we have given it to Noah and the prophets who followed it, and as we gave it to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob, and the 12 tribes, and to Jesus, Job, Jonas, Aaron, and Solomon, as we did give the Psalms to David. Prophets there have been, of whom we have already spoken to thee, and others we have not told thee of. But Moses, God verily spoke to him. These prophets have brought the new faith and given warning that men after the prophets should have no arguments against God. God is mighty, wise. And let us remember that in the Quran we have this idea of the prophets as over 144,000, which agrees with the other narration of over 112,000. I think the narration of 144 is a more sound one, but either way, there's not a contradiction between those traditions. And also that there were 319 prophets. Exemplar prophets. And people get nitpicky about the definitions and stuff. But the Nabi, the Anbiya were the exemplar prophets, the news bringers that, they brought a scripture. Others came with a messenger. Some people were both. Some were one or the other. So Abel, we had Abel, ablutions, Abraham, adultery, female slaves, alms, angels, attributes of God, avarice, the book, Cain, calf, the golden, charity, chastity, civil code, civility, contempt, creation, criminal code, cult, demeanor, dogma. Well, firmly held belief, one would hope, rather than duty towards orphans, duty towards parents, envy, epilogue, faith, profession of fall, the fall. The jinn are called fallen angels. They were always a different type of creation. But in English, we call them fallen angels. It's not a theological problem. Fasting, food, fornication, just like the thing about adultery, it's the same chapter. So all extramarital sex is remarked of. We had the story of Mary. She's like, hey, no man's done stuff to me. I haven't done stuff to any man. I'm chaste. So it's important that that's drawn out for further generations, because particularly the Christians, which would find more interest in the Mary and Jesus parts of the Quran, are people who were Christians usually, might have grown up playing games with the borders of right and wrong. But as said there, you don't approach fornication. So it's not like, well, I can go this far. No, future life, games of chance, attributes of God, presence of God, unity of God, greediness, hell, holy war. Almost most of the jihad verses are about the general struggle to do what's right, regardless of whether it's easy or not. To be in God's cause, not just God's name, but God's cause. Homicide, horror, the purified spouses of the hereafter. Jesus, Jonas, Joseph, judgment, last day, Quran, the place of the scriptures. Loans, lock. Most people just say loath, the way they spell that. Marriage, Mary. Menses, modesty, moral principles, Moses, Noah, oaths. Orphans, duty towards. Paradise, parents, duty towards. Patience, piety, pilgrimage to Mecca. Prescriptions, worship, ritual, dogmatic, legal, moral. Prayer, religious service of. Presence of God. Price of blood. Pride, profession of faith. Prologue, prophet, prophet's wives, religious service of prayer. And most of these have more detail, and it would help to get things in full. Repudiation. People would probably not presume that divorce is meant by that. Responsibility of the individual. Retaliation. Talion. Retirement, widows. Yeah, you got to be careful with the, it is taught that, we don't have vigilante and all that sort of stuff. And what we do is we do try to involve the state. Retirement, widows. Well, the waiting period before they get married again, basically. Sacred history, scriptures, sedition, slander, sodomy. Well, homosexual acts is what's actually said there. So what those people do in that regard, not just the one act. But that one act is condemned whether you're straight or gay in the Islamic tradition, but you don't find that mentioned in the Quran. Solidarity, human, successions, testimony, theft, Trinity, as in Islam doesn't believe in plurality of God or separate deities or whatever version of Godhead you have. Unity of God, usury, banality, widow's retirement, wills, wine, wives of the prophet, word, keeping one's wrath. And on page 13, note 2, read these and not there. Page 21, the last line, read compre and not comprehend. Page 25, last but one line, read or not of. Page 146, read Hassanal Bami and not Adabasala Luke. Are these chapter titles, or are they messed up in the printing of the Quran? See, I knew there was some issue. And okay, the back cover just advertises some other books that back in the 50s, back in the 50s were available. Or, well, the 70s, so the reprint.